Hey, it's the springtime and I'm really worried I don't know what trays I need to start my seeds. Is the number one thing. Our customer service reps here this time of year, and we are here to help you decide which pots to use, which domes to use, and what combinations to use for your gardening. Let's get into it. Most people don't fail at seed starting because growing plants is hard. In fact, it's probably the easier thing to get going. They fail way earlier than that. They fail while they look at all the domes and trays that we have and think that just one of them could be the solution. When in reality, a bunch of different pots can be used in combination in a modular system like we have here at Bootstrap Farmer to make sure that you're starting the right amount of seeds for your space at the right time of year. So before the first seed ever goes into the soil, let's start eliminating most of the confusion, where it starts, selecting the right combination. When you're new, you're hit immediately with a bunch of different options, different tray sizes, different cell counts, domes, flats, inserts, pots. And every person that you read online gives you a different opinion on what you should be doing. Without experience, every one of these choices feels risky. Instead of clarity, you end up second guessing yourself before you even start. I'm just gonna cut to the chase right now. Folks, at the end of most conversations that I overhear in the office with customer service, I just wanna tell people, if you'll just start somewhere. Don't have analysis paralysis. Just get your first tray, get your first pot, and just try something. And more often than not, people tell us that once they get started, it was a lot easier than that they thought. So please don't be scared. We're here for you. Go ahead and take the jump. It's time. So offering these bundles gives you a little bit of flexibility, not only to start the seed, but to up pot later on, wash them, and do it all over again, year after year, all with trays made right here in the United States. Beginners don't yet know which choices matter now and which ones matter later. That's why the bundles exist. They remove early decision making and make sure everything works together. And they give you a known, working starting point born from tens of thousands of growers who use Bootstrap Farmer trays and give us feedbacks on our inserts and pots. The goal here is not blanket perfection, it's to give you room to experiment with proven combinations of seed starting equipment. Let's now take a look at some of the individual trays, pots, inserts, everything that goes into a bundle so you understand each individual part. This is our flagship product. This is the one that kind of put us out there and let everybody know what we had working on. This is the industry standard 10-inch by 20-inch tray or 1020 tray made right here in the United States and built to last year after year. A 1020 tray is basically the standard base most seed starting systems are built around. It's the footprint everything nests into. It's what you carry and it's what you water in. Now within trays, you'll see shallow and deep. Shallow trays are great as a carrier for bottom watering when you don't need much water capacity, and perfect for harvesting microgreens. Deep trays give you more buffer, more water capacity, and more containment. Now for those of you that have been with us for the last 8 to 9 years, as long as we've been in business, you'll notice that the trays these days are just a little bit more flexible, and that is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. And that flexibility actually means that the trays are stronger because they can take more impact strength when you inevitably drop this tray onto the ground. You may lose your starts, but you're not going to lose your tray. So another question that we get a lot is, can I put a shallow tray in a deep tray? Look, you can do anything you want, but it's not advisable because as you see, as that sits on top of that lip right there, you then have this massive amount of water that's probably going to be a little bit too wet, a little bit too moist, a little bit too much humidity. Think of it as you put a with-hole tray inside of a no-hole tray and you have your media in there, you simply lift up, give your little dose of water for the day or every other day, depending on your seeds, depending on your media and your environment, and you set that down and that water is uptaken into the media itself. In the early beginnings, a lot of times you will do that once and then spray the seeds over the next couple of days from the top until those seeds first emerge. Next question, mesh or with holes? I like a mesh for a couple of different reasons. If we're to soil block, that means that I can set the blocks right here and the water gets distributed a little bit more evenly and is allowed to settle back down into the other tray. Number two, fodder, pea shoots, sunflower seeds, any big seed that you want to get wet once a day but don't want to have in standing water. This is a very quick drain. Also, I like this for harvesting garlic, putting the garlic bulbs in there, letting them dry. This is very useful for many things on the farm, and that's why we have a mesh bottom tray. Now with hole, as you water, it's going to drain out a little bit more slowly, but for most of the crops, this is an ideal way to do things because you don't want that quick drain that you would in the mesh on some of these crops. So holes or no holes, that's simple. No holes is there to hold or contain water. Mesh trays simply offer faster drainage for plants who need to be watered, but whose roots do not tolerate standing in water. A lot of times the question over deep, shallow, mesh with holes simply comes down to a matter of personal preference. We know a lot of people that grow pea shoots in with holes instead of mesh. If these trays with no holes are the base of your entire watering system, we've already shown you mesh, we've already shown you with holes, especially for the microgreens. Let's now look at cell trays. And this is for folks that need to start a lot of different plants for either a bigger grow or maybe for some succession planting. And we have cell trays from 200, 128 cell, 72 cell, a 50 cell, and a 32 cell that I'm really going to put way off to the side for a little bit. So why do we have different cell sizes? Obviously, if you're a farmer, 200 heads of lettuce is probably going to be a good idea, especially week after week, where I would start 200 this week, 200 next week, and hopefully be pushing 200 heads of lettuce out the door every single time. These are also good for flower gardeners who need 200 plants to do your cut and come again cut flowers, or any other vegetable that you need a lot of and is going to do a quick transplant. And so when it comes time to choosing your cell sizes, just please take a look at the amount that you need to grow, how fast they're going to grow, and are you going to uppot or are you going to put those straightened out into the field? Maybe you just want 200 sunflowers just bordering your property if you're a home gardener, and that would be great. But you also may want to consider, hey, I'm very busy this time of year, I'm going to plant 200, but I'm going to do it over a couple of different trays instead of this compact little one where stuff is going to grow super fast and I may not have time to get to it. So this is a 50 cell of arugula that I planted a couple of weeks ago. This is in a shallow tray. It's fully loaded out. We watered it this morning. There's no flex, there's no trouble. I can take this out into the garden or the farm and plant it with no trouble, and I'm not worried about breaking it. We can also set it in a deep and move it along, and as you can tell, there's no flex. It fits in both. So with the 32 count cell, this is mainly to hold the 2.5 inch pots that we have. Sometimes you would take something out of a cell tray and put it in here, but more often than not, this is great for beginner gardeners and people at scale that really want to start a tomato, cucumber, pepper, anything that's gonna be a vine crop that you wanna uppot later for sure, and give you a little bit more buffer if time is crunched, like everybody's time is crunched this time of year. And this is the first look at some of the pot options that we have, either to start the seeds or to uppot, and we need to think about density and root behavior. A 6 cell and a 4 cell are going to do different things for different plants. So if we start taking a look at some of the smaller pots, again, from the 32 cell, we have a 2.5 inch pot. Very similar to a 2.5 inch pot is this 4 cell, in which 4 plants can be moved in and out of a 10-20 tray instead of individually. If you think of most small gardeners, 32 plants might just get you covered. But if you need a little bit more, the 6 cells also fit into a 10-20 and give you, instead of 32 plants for a 6 cell, 72 plants. So if the question is, which is better, we need to think about root structure. If a root is going to be this big, I probably should have planted this in a 5-inch pot. And these are some of the fun mistakes that we're going to make along the way. This is a taro plant that we're going to do in a little experimental bed, and this got real wild real quick. Versus these pumpkins that I started about the same time I planted this bulb. They're just now getting to the spot where it's time for me to upplant them into the next bigger pot, which is either going to be this 3-inch or one of these 5 inches like this, so I can plant it into the ground after the last frost. I want to talk to you a little bit more on the uppotting. So just like 3 or 4 days ago, these quirk cucumbers I took from this 6 cell and I upplanted it into a 3.3 inch pot. And you can see the difference already in the size of the plant growth and how much healthier it looks. It was crammed in that 6 cell, and I've given this a little bit of breathing room. Also of note, cucumber roots really don't like to be disturbed, so I really don't want to transplant these very much more than what I've already done. My intent is to go directly into the Dutch bucket so that we plan to grow these out into the year. Now on tray density, again, different crops. I'm back to the taro, I'm back to the cucumbers here. And if you notice, I skipped every other hole to give these cucumbers a little bit of room to bush out. Versus the taro that's growing straight up and not bushing out until it gets a little bit bigger, I still have these in the 18 count with the little insert that we have to keep them upright as we move them about. These are a Katrina cucumber, and I'm expecting a little bit faster growth than the quirk, which tends to be a little bit more compact. I went ahead and moved these directly from a 6 cell, skipped the 3.3 inch for this, and went right to the 5 inch pot. I plan for these to go in the Dutch buckets within the next 3 weeks once we get the hoop house outside finished. And if you've ever dealt with pots sliding around or tipping over, that's why pot inserts exist. They keep pots tight, upright, and organized inside of a tray so watering and moving plants doesn't turn into chaos. Humidity domes are likely our most misunderstood product. And for beginner gardeners, this seems to be one of the points of a lot of struggle. So let me talk a little bit about why are humidity domes the way they are. So first off, they're a little loose in the tray because a tight seal is not needed for humidity. Look at all this moisture condensation that we have going on in here. If there's too much, we can simply vent and pull it out. This is a good example of if I lift this lid up, I've already got most of my germination either already coming up or starting to sprout. This is the time I remove this tray. Now, as I do that, and if I knock it about, I'll get little drips of water, which means the floor around you is going to get a little wet because you're watering with water. Now, if you're having to go and water every single time, that means if this tray snapped onto the tray, you would have to peel this up like Tupperware, and the amount of time that would add up would mean that that job probably would not even get done. So a quick lift up on the dome, a quick lift up on the tray, a little water action, set it back down, good to go. As those leaves start coming up, that is the time to remove the humidity dome. The dome is just for starting seeds. It's not meant to create a different environment than what these plants need once they have germinated. This piece of equipment is designed to be used just for the first few days of germination. We can get even smaller if need be. We have 5x5s with no holes, and we have 5x5s with holes. 8 fits into 10-20, or you could use them for trays for your 5x5s, which is what I like to do. These are great for windowsills, and these are great for people that just need a plant or two at a time, or doing something fun and different other than a regular main crop, or you can also grow individual microgreens in here. We also have 10 tins with and without holes in which you can start just 10 tins at a time. These are great for 6 cells if you don't want to start 72 plants at a time. 6 cells will fit in one 10 tin. 2 of these will also fit in a 10-20, but please note, these, if you get in here and you're like, there's a little gap and it doesn't fit, simply turn the tray. And just like that, it fits perfectly, just like it was designed to do. And if you've made it this far into the video, here's your chance to win $200. Simply comment what you're going to be growing, where you're at, and what bundle configuration or tray sizes that you're going to be using. And in the next week's video, I'm going to choose a winner. If that winner does not get a hold of us within 72 hours, we will choose another winner, and so on. If that winner doesn't get with us within 72 hours, we'll do a third and final drawing. You've got to come back and watch the next week videos to find out if you've won, folks. So for $200, drop a little comment down below what you're growing and what configurations you're going to be doing at. We'd love to hear from you. I'm now going to talk about these bundles as fast as possible. You can take a look on the website for the different bundle configurations. And look, don't be afraid to order a few extra trays while you're there. The 1010 Seed Starting Kit. If you're starting seeds at home and want the least intimidating setup possible, this is it. Small footprint, low commitment, low risk. It's designed to give you a clean first win without overbuilding a system that you don't need yet. Our most popular backyard garden bundle. This is for people who already know they're going to keep growing. It's not just start seeds, it's start seeds and then grow them out properly. It solves that mid-season problem where you realize your seedings need more room and you're scrambling to figure out the next container or succession round. The Seed Starting Workshop Bundle. This one exists for teaching and workshops. When you've got a group, the gear mismatch becomes a lesson, and it's the wrong lesson. This bundle standardizes the setup and focus stays on the process, not the logistics. And just because this is for seed starting workshops and classrooms, that doesn't mean that this might not be a good option for your farm, especially if you're doing a lot of the same type of crops like flowers or vining crops or herbs. Up next, the Market Garden Seed Starting Bundle, and this is for production. When you're starting a lot of plants, inefficiency gets expensive. This bundle is built for workflow, repeat cycles, and volume. It's where mistakes actually cost you crops. The right bundle is the one that removes the most friction and helps start you out efficiently. These bundles exist to answer the one question that we get the most from new growers. Can you just tell me what trays to get? We're going to ask you a few questions and direct you to those bundles. The goal isn't to choose perfectly. The goal is to choose something that works. You can always add complexity later, so start with clarity now. And don't forget, leave a comment in the giveaway and we'll pick one at random and hook somebody up with $200 in Bootstrap Farmer credit take a look at the official rules in the description below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see what we're going to do with all these crazy plants later on.